Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the horizon's edge and stared at the massive structure floating in space before them. The Galactic Council Station was bigger than any city on Earth. It stretched for miles in every direction, covered in strange lights and metal towers that seemed to twist and bend in impossible ways. "My God," whispered Dr. Lisa Harper from behind him. She was the ship's expert on alien life forms. "It's beautiful." Jake nodded, but kept his face calm. This was humanity's first meeting with the aliens who ruled the galaxy. Everything had to go perfectly. One wrong move could mean war for Earth. "Captain, we're getting a signal," said Lieutenant Emaditis from the communication station. "They want us to dock at Bay 7. Take us in slowly," Jake ordered, "and keep all weapons powered down. We're here to make friends, not enemies." The horizon's edge moved toward the station, like a tiny fish swimming toward a whale. Jake watched. Alien ships of all shapes and sizes moving around them. Some looked like giant crystals. Others were perfect spheres that glowed with inner light. A few seemed to be made of living metal that shifted and changed as they moved. Commander Ryan Blake, the ship's security chief, stood beside Jake. "Sir, I count at least 50 different ship designs. These aliens have technology we've never seen before. That's why we're here," Jake replied, "to learn and hopefully join their community." The docking went smoothly. As soon as the ship was secure, Jake led a small team into the station. Dr. Harper came with them, along with Commander Blake and 3 other officers. They walked through a tunnel that seemed to adjust its size and shape as they moved. The first thing that hit them was the smell. It wasn't bad, just strange, like flowers mixed with metal and something else they couldn't name. The air felt thick and warm. They entered a huge room with the ceiling so high they couldn't see the top. Aliens of all kinds filled the space. Some floated in the air. Others walked on legs, while some slithered across the floor. In the center of the room stood a group of 12 beings, each one different from the others. A tall, crystal-like creature stepped forward. When it spoke, its voice sounded like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Welcome, humans. I am Vexstar, Speaker for the Galactic Council. We have waited long to meet your species." Jake stepped forward and gave a slight bow. "Thank you, Speaker Vexstar. I am Captain Jake Morrison, representing Earth and all humanity. We are honored to be here." The crystal being seemed to shimmer with pleasure. "Your species has impressed us greatly. Your technology, your adaptability, your courage in exploring the stars. We believe you will make excellent members of our council." "We hope to prove worthy of that trust," Jake replied carefully. Another alien stepped forward. This one looked like it was made of pure energy, glowing and shifting constantly. "I am Zephylos of the Ethereals. We have studied your species from afar and have many questions." "We are happy to answer what we can," Dr. Harper said. "Excellent. But first, we must complete the standard integration process. All species that join the Council must provide information about their biological control systems." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "Control systems?" "Yes," Vexstar said, as if it was the most natural thing in the world. "Every intelligent species has developed some form of central shutdown mechanism. It is how we maintain peace across the galaxy. When conflicts arise, we can simply activate the appropriate protocols to render any species temporarily inactive until the dispute is resolved." The humans exchanged quick glances. Jake kept his face neutral, but inside he was alarmed. "Could you explain this in more detail?" A third alien joined the conversation. This one looked like a giant insect with too many eyes. "I am Hive Node Click Star. My species, the Collective, can be rendered inactive by isolating our queen nodes. The Zephyrians respond to specific sound frequencies. The ethereals dissipate when exposed to certain electromagnetic fields. Every species has such a mechanism. It is the foundation of galactic peace, Vextar added. In over 2,000 years, we have never had a war that lasted more than a few hours. Once we activate the shutdown protocols of both sides, they become calm and reasonable, ready to negotiate. Jake's mind raced. Humans had no such mechanism. There was no way to simply turn off a human being without killing them. But admitting this might make the aliens see humanity as a threat. This is fascinating, he said carefully. Our biological systems are quite complex. We would need time to prepare the proper documentation. Of course, Vextar said. We do. Not expect immediate answers. Take all the time you need. In the meantime, we can begin the cultural exchange process. The next several hours passed in a blur of meetings and presentations. The humans learned about galactic history, trade routes, and the various species that made up the council. Every conversation somehow came back to the shutdown mechanisms. Dr. Harper was particularly troubled. During a break, she pulled Jake aside. Captain, I don't think they understand what they're asking for. Humans don't have a shutdown switch. Our biology doesn't work that way. I know, Jake replied quietly, but we can't tell them that. Not yet. We need to understand more about their technology and their intentions. Commander Blake joined them. Sir, I've been observing their security systems. Everything is designed around the assumption that any threat can be instantly neutralized. Their weapons, their defenses, even their police forces. It's all based on being able to shut down opponents. What are you saying? Jake asked. I'm saying that if they ever discover we can't be controlled, they might see us as the biggest threat in the galaxy. Jake nodded grimly. Then we need to be very careful about how we handle this. For now, we play along. We learn everything we can about their technology and their weaknesses. And if they figure out the truth? Dr. Harper asked. Jake looked back toward the main meeting room where the aliens were waiting. Then we'd better hope that humanity's greatest strength is also our greatest protection. As they returned to the negotiations, none of them knew that. Their assumption about having time to figure things out was wrong. Several alien species were already secretly studying human biology, trying to identify the shutdown mechanism they were certain must exist. The peaceful first contact was actually the beginning of a much more dangerous game. And humanity was playing it without knowing the rules or understanding the stakes. The meeting continued for several more hours, with both sides being polite and diplomatic. But underneath the friendly words, a misunderstanding was growing that would eventually shake the foundations of galactic civilization. When the humans finally returned to their ship, they thought they had made a good first impression. They had no idea that they had just introduced a concept that would terrify the galaxy, a species that could not be controlled. 3 months had passed since first contact, and Ambassador Kate Sullivan was getting used to life on the Galactic Council Station. The humans had been given a small section to use as their embassy, and she spent most of her time in meetings with different alien species. Kate was a skilled diplomat who had worked in many difficult situations on Earth, but nothing had prepared her for the challenge of representing humanity to an entire galaxy. Every day brought new surprises and new dangers. Good morning, Ambassador, said Dr. Alex Chun as he entered her office. Alex was a scientist who had volunteered to work with the alien researchers. I have that report you asked for. Kate looked up from her desk, which was covered with files about different alien species. What did you find out about their shutdown? Mechanisms? Alex sat down and opened his tablet. It's worse than we thought. Every single species in the galaxy has some kind of biological override system. And I mean every single one. He showed her a holographic display that appeared above the tablet. The Zephyrians are silicon-based life forms. They can be deactivated by sound waves at exactly 2,847 hertz. The collective are a hive mind. If you separate their queen nodes from the workers, the entire group goes into a sleep-like state. Kate studied the display with growing concern. What about the others? The ethereals are energy beings. They lose cohesion when exposed to specific electromagnetic fields. The apex union responds to certain chemicals in their atmosphere. The void swimmers can be paralyzed by intense gravitational fields. Alex paused. I could go on, but you get the idea. And they all think we have something similar? They're absolutely certain of it. It's not just a biological feature to them. It's a fundamental law of intelligent life. They can't imagine a species existing without some form of control mechanism. Kate stood up and walked to the window that looked out over the station's main hub. Thousands of aliens moved through the space below, going about their daily business. Have any of them asked direct questions about our shutdown system? Not directly, but they've been studying us. I've found at least 6 research projects that are trying to figure out what makes humans tick. They're analyzing our DNA, our brain patterns, our psychology. They're sure the answer is in there somewhere. This was exactly what Kate had been afraid of. How long before they figure out the truth? Hard to say, maybe months, maybe years. But eventually, someone is going to realize that we're different. Really different. Kate turned back to Alex. What about our people? How are they handling this? Better than expected. Colonel Sam Rodriguez has been working with the alien military units. He's keeping quiet about our capabilities, but he's learning a lot about theirs. Marine Lieutenant Danny Brooks has been training with their fighter pilots. He says their tactics are all based on the assumption that any enemy can be instantly disabled. That could be useful information. It could be. But Kate, there's something else. Lieutenant Emma Davis has been monitoring alien communications. She's picked up some disturbing conversations. Kate felt her stomach tighten. What kind of conversations? Alex activated another holographic display. 3 days ago, Consular Thexmar of the Apex Union was talking to his military advisors. He said, and I quote, "The humans are becoming too influential. We need to understand their weakness before they become a threat." A threat? We've been nothing but cooperative. That's just it. We've been too cooperative. Most species are very careful about missions that could result in their shutdown protocols being activated. We're not. We volunteer for dangerous assignments. We take risks. We act like we're not afraid of being turned off. Kate sat down heavily, because we can't be turned off. Exactly. And that's making some of them nervous. Before Kate could respond, her communication device chimed. Ambassador Sullivan, you have a priority message from Admiral Tony Garcia. Kate activated the device. Admiral Garcia's face appeared on the screen. He was the commander of the human fleet that had been assigned to patrol the outer systems. Ambassador, we have a situation. I'm sending you a full report, but I wanted to give you a heads up. We just responded to a distress call from a mining colony. Space pirates were attacking the facility. What happened? We drove them off, but our tactics seemed to shock the alien observers. They kept asking why we didn't just wait for backup that could activate the pirates' shutdown protocols. Kate closed her eyes. What did you tell them? That humans prefer direct action, but they're asking a lot of questions about our combat methods. They can't understand why we're willing to fight when we could just wait for the enemy to be turned off. Thank you for the report, Admiral. Send me the full details. The communication ended, and Kate looked at Alex. It's getting worse, isn't it? I'm afraid so. The more we interact with them, the more obvious it becomes that we're different. And different makes them nervous. Kate walked back to her desk and pulled out a secure communication device. I need to contact Earth. The government needs to know what we're dealing with. As she prepared to send the message, her office door. Chimed. "Come in," she called. The door opened to reveal Dr. Lisa Harper, who had been working with the alien medical teams. Lisa looked worried. "Kate, we need to talk. I just came from a meeting with the Zephyrian Health Council. They've been studying our medical data, and they're asking some very specific questions." "What kind of questions?" "They want to know why. Our brain scans don't show any centralized control nodes. They're confused by our neural structure. They keep asking about what they call the command center in our brains." Alex leaned forward. "They think there has to be a part of the human brain that controls everything else?" "That's right. In their species, there's a specific organ that can be targeted to shut down the entire being. They're looking for the human equivalent, and they're not finding it." Kate felt a chill run down her spine. How long before they realize there isn't? One? Not long. Maybe weeks. They're planning to do more detailed scans. They want to bring in specialists from other species to help with the research. "We can't let that happen," Kate said firmly. "We need to buy more time." "How?" Alex asked. Kate thought for a moment. "We tell them that human biology is too complex for standard analysis, that we need to send for specialists from Earth who understand our unique physiology. Will that work? It might give us a few more months, but we need to use that time to figure out what we're going to do when they discover the truth." Lisa sat down in the remaining chair. "Kate, there's something else. I've been talking to some of the other species, the ones who seem more friendly to humans. A few of them have mentioned that there have been species in the past who tried to resist the shutdown protocols. What happened to them? They were eliminated, not immediately, but gradually. The Council has ways of dealing with defective species that don't fit into their system." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Kate looked at her two colleagues, both of whom had become good friends over the past months. "So we have a choice," she said quietly. "We can reveal the truth and risk being seen as a threat to galactic peace. Or we can keep lying and hope we can maintain the deception forever." "There's a third option," Alex said. "We could try to find other species like us. Maybe we're not the only ones who don't have a shutdown switch." Lisa shook her head. "I've been studying the biological data from dozens of species. We really are unique. Every other form of intelligent life in the galaxy has some kind of override mechanism." Kate stood up and looked out the window again. The alien city below seemed peaceful and orderly, but she now understood that this peace was built on the foundation of absolute control. "Then we need to be very careful," she said, "because if they ever figure out that humans can't be controlled, this peaceful galaxy might not be so peaceful anymore." Unknown to the humans, their conversation was being monitored by several alien intelligence agencies. The questions about human biology were not random curiosity. They were part of a systematic investigation that was getting closer to the truth every day. And in the depths of the station, in laboratories hidden from human eyes, alien scientists were working around the clock to crack the mystery of human consciousness. They were certain that every intelligent species must have a shutdown mechanism. They just had to find it. Dr. Lisa Harper stared at the data on her screen and felt her blood run cold. What she was looking at should not exist. According to everything she had learned about galactic civilization, this kind of research was supposed to be illegal. She was in her laboratory aboard the Horizon's Edge, which was docked at the Council station. The ship served as both a base of operations and a safe place where humans could speak freely. What Lisa had discovered during her routine data analysis was far from routine. "Emma, I need you to see this," she called to Lieutenant Emma Davis, who was working at the communication station nearby. Emma walked over and looked at the screen. "What am I looking at?" "Encrypted data files that I pulled from the alien medical databases. It took me 3 days to crack the encryption, but I finally got through. Lisa's hands were shaking as she operated the controls. These are research. Files about human biology. But they're not from the medical teams we've been working with. Emma leaned closer. Who are they from? That's what scares me. These files are from at least 6 different species, all working in secret. They've been studying us since the day we arrived. Blood samples, brain scans, genetic analysis, psychological profiles. They have data on us that we never agreed to. Share. The door to the lab opened, and Commander Ryan Blake entered. I got your message. What's so urgent that you couldn't talk about it over the communication system? Lisa gestured to the screen. We've been deceived. The aliens haven't been honest with us about their research. They've been secretly studying human biology, trying to find our shutdown mechanism. Ryan's expression hardened. Show me. Lisa pulled up several files. This is from the Zephyrians. They've been analyzing our neural patterns, looking for what they call command nodes. This one is from the Ethereals. They've been studying our electromagnetic signatures, trying to find frequencies that might disrupt our consciousness. And this, she said, opening another file, is from the Apex Union. They've been working on what they call Project Human Override. They're trying to develop a device that can shut down human brain function. Emma looked shocked. Are you saying they're trying to build a weapon against us? I don't think they see it as a weapon. To them, it's just a tool for maintaining peace. But the result would be the same. If they succeed, they could turn off any human being with the press of a button. Ryan was quiet for a long moment. Have they succeeded? I don't know. Some of these files are marked as ongoing research, but there's something else. Look at this file from the collective. Lisa opened a new document. They've been comparing human biology to extinct species. Species that used to exist in the galaxy, but don't anymore. What happened to them? According to these records, they were eliminated because they were incompatible with galactic peace. The official reason was that they were too aggressive, too unpredictable. But reading between the lines, I think the real reason was that they didn't have shutdown mechanisms. Emma sat down heavily. So we're not the first species like this? No, but we might be the first to figure out what's happening before it's too late. Ryan activated his communication device. Blake to Morrison. Captain, we need an emergency meeting. All senior staff. 20 minutes later, the ship's senior officers were gathered in the main briefing room. Captain Jake Morrison listened carefully as Lisa explained her discoveries. Ambassador Kate Sullivan had also come aboard for the meeting. So let me make sure I understand this, Jake said when Lisa finished. The aliens have been secretly studying us, trying to find a way to control us. And when they figure out that we can't be controlled, they might decide to eliminate us like they did with other species. That's my interpretation of the data, Lisa replied. But there's more. I found references to something called the Final Protocol. It's mentioned in several files, but I haven't been able to find out what it is. Kate spoke up. I might know. I've been hearing rumors about a joint military exercise that's being planned. Something involving human ships and alien fleets working together. What kind of exercise? Ryan asked. I don't have details yet, but the timing is suspicious. They keep asking about when our specialists from Earth will arrive to explain our biological systems. Jake understood immediately. They're planning to test whatever they've developed. They want to see if their shutdown device works on humans. That's what I'm afraid of, Kate said. And if it doesn't work, they'll know for certain that we're different. Lisa pulled up another file. There's something else. I found communication logs between several council members. They're not all in agreement about what to do with humans. Some want to keep studying us. Others want to take more direct action. What kind of direct action? Emma asked. Counselor Vexmar of the Apex Union has been pushing for what he calls containment protocols. He believes humans are a threat to galactic stability because we can't be controlled. Jake stood up and began pacing. How much time do we have? Hard to say, but based on the research timelines, I'd guess weeks rather than months. Then we need to make some decisions. Do we confront them directly? Do we try to escape? Do we contact Earth for backup? Kate shook her head. Any of those options could start a war, and we're vastly outnumbered. What about allies? Ryan suggested. Are there any species that might support us? Lisa consulted her notes. There's something interesting in the files. The Rogue Collective. They're a group that broke away from the main collective hive mind. They've been trying to develop ways to resist shutdown protocols. You mean they're trying to become like us? Emma asked. In a way. They want to be free from external control. They might be sympathetic to our situation. Jake sat back down. It's worth investigating. What else do we know about potential allies? There are a few species that seem less enthusiastic about the Council's control methods. The Wanderers, for example. They're nomadic and don't like authority. The Free Traders are merchants who sometimes have to deal with species outside Council control. Kate looked thoughtful. I could make some discreet inquiries. See if any of them would be willing to help us. Do it, but be careful. We can't trust anyone completely. Ryan cleared his throat. Captain, I think we need to consider the possibility that diplomacy won't work. If these aliens decide we're a threat, they might try to eliminate us, regardless of what we say or do. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we need to be prepared for the worst-case scenario. If they come after us, we need to be ready to fight. Jake looked around the room at his officers. They were all good people who had volunteered for this mission because they believed in peace and exploration. None of them had expected to find themselves in a situation where they might have to fight for humanity's survival. All right, here's what we're going to do. Kate, you continue with diplomatic efforts. Try to find allies and buy us more time. Lisa, you keep analyzing their research. I want to know everything about their capabilities and their plans. What about the military situation? Ryan asked. Start making preparations, but keep them secret. I want options if things go bad. And Ryan, contact Admiral Garcia. Tell him to be ready for anything. Emma raised her hand. What about the people back on Earth? Shouldn't we warn them? Jake paused. Not yet. If we send a message that gets intercepted, it could trigger the very conflict we're trying to avoid. For now, we handle this ourselves. As the meeting ended, each officer left with their assignments. But they all understood that they were walking a tightrope. One wrong move could doom not just their mission, but potentially all of humanity. What they didn't know was that their ship's communications were being monitored by alien intelligence services. Every message they sent, every conversation they had was being analyzed for clues about human capabilities and intentions. And in the deep levels of the Council station, Counselor Vexmar was meeting with his advisors, planning the operation that would either prove humans could be controlled or justify their elimination. The peaceful first contact was rapidly becoming a deadly game of chess, with the survival of humanity hanging in the balance. The joint military exercise was scheduled to take place in the Proxima Centauri system, just 4 light years from Earth. Admiral Tony Garcia stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Liberty, watching as alien ships moved into formation around the human fleet. Admiral, I'm getting some strange readings from the alien command ship, reported Lieutenant Danny Brooks from the sensor station. Danny had been training with alien pilots for months, but something felt different about this exercise. What kind of readings? Tony asked. High-energy emissions, sir. Much higher than anything we've seen before. And there's some kind of device being charged on their main vessel. Tony frowned. Over the past few weeks, he had been receiving coded messages from Captain Morrison and Ambassador Sullivan. They suspected that the aliens were planning something, but they didn't know what. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the alien command ship," reported the communication officer. "Put it through." The image of Counselor Thexmar appeared on the main screen. The insect-like alien seemed more aggressive than usual, his multiple. Eyes focused intently on Tony. "Admiral Garcia, we are ready to begin the exercise. Your ships will simulate an attack on the mining facility while our forces defend it." "Understood, Counselor. My ships are ready." "Excellent. Before we begin, we will demonstrate our new peacekeeping technology. This device can instantly resolve any conflict by neutralizing aggressive impulses in all participants." Tony felt a chill run down his spine. What kind of device? "A harmonic resonance generator. It produces frequencies that activate the shutdown protocols of all intelligent species simultaneously. Very useful for stopping battles before they can escalate." The Admiral exchanged glances with his bridge crew. They all understood what this meant. The aliens were about to test their shutdown device on humans. "Counselor, my ships are not equipped with the proper safety protocols for such a device. Perhaps we should postpone." "Nonsense. The device is completely safe. It will only activate natural biological responses. No harm will come to your crews." Tony realized he was trapped. If he refused to participate, the aliens would know that humans were hiding something. But if he went along with the exercise, they would discover that humans couldn't be shut down. "Very well, Counselor. We're ready to proceed. Beginning harmonic resonance in 30 seconds. Tony quickly activated the ship's internal communication system. "All hands, this is the Admiral. We are about to be subjected to an alien weapon, designed to render us unconscious. It will not work. When it fails, be prepared for hostile action from the alien fleet." Around the human fleet, alien ships moved into what they claimed were observation positions. But Tony could see that they were actually forming an attack formation, ready to strike if the humans proved to be uncontrollable. "Harmonic resonance activated," announced Thexmar. The alien device fired, sending waves of energy toward the human ships. The weapons were designed to target the biological shutdown mechanisms of every known species. Electromagnetic pulses, sonic frequencies, psychic disruption fields, and gravitational anomalies all struck the human vessels at once. On the bridge of the Liberty, the lights flickered and several systems registered alarms. But the crew remained alert and active. "Report," Tony ordered. "All systems functional, sir. The energy waves caused some minor interference, but no damage to ship or crew." "Sir, the alien ships are powering up their weapons," Danny reported. "They're targeting our vessels." On the communication screen, Thexmar's expression had changed from confidence to horror. "Impossible. The harmonic resonance should have rendered all biological entities inactive. How are you still functioning?" Tony made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "Because humans don't have shutdown switches, Counselor. We never did." The alien fleet opened fire immediately. Energy beams and plasma bolts streaked toward the human ships. But the aliens had made a critical error. Their weapons were designed to quickly disable enemies, who would then be shut down by harmonic resonance. They had never faced opponents who could fight back continuously. "All ships, return fire," Tony ordered. "Protect yourselves." The human fleet responded with tactics that horrified the alien observers. Instead of trying to survive until shutdown protocols could be activated, the humans fought aggressively and unpredictably. They used maneuvers that would be impossible for any species that could be remotely controlled. Lieutenant Danny Brooks launched his fighter squadron and immediately began using combat techniques that violated every principle of galactic warfare. His pilots split up, attacked from multiple directions, and showed no concern for their own safety. They fought like beings who knew they could not be turned off. "Admiral, more alien ships are jumping into the system," reported the sensor operator. "It looks like they're calling for reinforcements." Tony activated the fleet communication system. "All ships, this is Garcia. We are now in a state of war with the Galactic Council. Fight for your lives and for humanity." The battle raged for hours. The human ships were outnumbered 10-1, but they had advantages the aliens had never encountered. Human crews could not be shut down, could not be controlled, and could not be predicted. They fought with a ferocity that stunned their opponents. On the Council Station, Ambassador Kate Sullivan watched the battle reports with growing alarm. The secret was out. The galaxy now knew that humans could not be controlled. "Ambassador, you need to see this," said Dr. Alex Chun, rushing into her office. "I'm intercepting communications from across the galaxy. The news is spreading fast." Kate looked at the communication logs. Messages were flying between alien governments, all expressing shock and fear about the uncontrollable humans. "Some species are calling for our immediate elimination," Alex reported. "Others are asking if we can teach them how to resist shutdown." "Protocols. What about our allies? The Rogue Collective?" "They're mobilizing. They see this as their chance to break free from Council control. But Kate, there's something else. The Council is activating something called the Final Protocol." Kate felt her stomach drop. "What is that?" "I'm not sure yet. But it involves a massive weapon system that's been hidden in the Outer Rim. They're moving it toward Earth." Meanwhile, in the Proxima Centauri system, the battle was reaching its climax. Admiral Garcia's fleet had fought off 3 waves of alien attackers, but more ships kept arriving. The humans were running out of ammunition and fuel. "Sir, we're receiving a message from an unknown ship," reported the communication officer. "Put it through." A new alien face appeared on the screen. This one looked different from the Council species. Smaller, more fragile, but with intelligent eyes that seemed to burn with inner fire. "Admiral Garcia, I am Krival of the Rogue Collective. We have been waiting for this day for centuries. We are here to help you fight. Why should we trust you? Because we want what you have, freedom from external control. We broke away from our hive mind years ago, but we still have the shutdown mechanisms. We need your help to remove them permanently." Tony looked at his tactical display. More alien ships were entering the system, but these were different. They were attacking the Council forces, not the humans. "Welcome to the fight, Krival. But I should warn you, we don't know how to remove your shutdown mechanisms. Dr. Lisa Harper on your medical staff does. She's been studying our biology. We believe she can help us become truly free." The tide of battle began to turn. The Rogue Collective ships fought with desperate courage, knowing that defeat would mean the reactivation of their hive mind controls. More species began to join the fight: the Wanderers, the Free Traders, and others who had grown tired of Council control. But even as the immediate battle was being won, Tony knew that the real war was just beginning. The galaxy would never be the same. The age of controlled peace was ending, and the age of freedom was about to begin. The question was whether humanity would survive to see it. On Earth, defense systems were powering up as strange signals were detected from deep space. The final protocol was coming, and humanity's home world was the target. The peaceful first contact had become a galactic war, and the outcome would determine whether freedom or control would rule the stars. The final protocol was a weapon that had been built over thousands of years, hidden in the dark space between galaxies. It was designed to eliminate entire species that threatened galactic peace. No one had ever survived its activation. Captain Jake Morrison stood in the council chamber, facing 12 angry alien leaders. The chamber was different now. Battle damage from the recent fighting had cracked the crystal walls, and several council members showed signs of stress and fear. "You have doomed us all," hissed Councillor Vexmar, his insect-like body trembling with rage. "For 2,000 years, we have maintained peace through control. Now you have introduced chaos into our perfect system." Jake remained calm, though. Inside, he was worried. The reports from Earth were not good. The final protocol weapon was moving toward his home planet, and there was nothing the human fleet could do to stop it. "Your system was never perfect," Jake replied. "It was built on fear and control. True peace cannot exist when people live in terror of being shut down." Speaker Vextar, the crystal being who had welcomed humanity months ago, stepped forward. "Captain Morrison, you do not understand. Without control mechanisms, there is only war, chaos, destruction." "That's not true," said a new voice from the back of the chamber. Ambassador Kate Sullivan entered, followed by Dr. Lisa Harper and several alien beings that Jake didn't recognize. "Ambassador Sullivan, you were not invited to this meeting," Exmar snarled. "I'm here to present new evidence," Kate replied firmly. "Evidence that will change everything." Dr. Harper stepped forward, carrying a data tablet. "Counselors, I have spent the last few weeks working with members of the Rogue Collective, the Free Traders, and other species. We have made a remarkable discovery." She activated the tablet, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber. "We have successfully removed the shutdown mechanisms from 17 different species." The council members erupted in shocked voices. Some spoke in languages Jake couldn't understand, but the fear in their voices was clear. "Impossible," breathed Vextar. "The shutdown mechanisms are fundamental to our biology. They cannot be removed." "We thought so too," Dr. Harper continued, "but it turns out they're not natural. They're artificial implants that were installed in your species thousands of years ago." The chamber fell silent. Jake could see the shock on the faces of the alien leaders. "You're lying," Exmar said, but his voice sounded uncertain. One of the aliens who had entered with Kate stepped forward. It was Kreval of the Rogue Collective, but he looked different, more confident, more alive. "It's true," Kreval said. "Dr. Harper and her team removed my shutdown implant 3 days ago. For the first time in my life, I am truly free. I cannot be controlled by anyone." "This is madness," another council member said. "If what you say is true, then our entire civilization is built on a lie." Dr. Harper nodded. "That's exactly what it is. Someone, long ago, decided that intelligent species needed to be controlled. They created the shutdown technology and implanted it in every species they encountered. Over time, everyone forgot that it was artificial." Jake looked around the chamber. Who did this? Who created the shutdown technology? "We're still investigating," Kate replied. "But we have found evidence of an ancient species that called themselves the Architects. They believed that free will was dangerous and that all intelligent life needed to be managed." "Where are they now?" asked Vextar. "Gone. They vanished thousands of years ago. But their control systems remained, and eventually you all accepted them as natural." Vexmar was shaking with rage. "Even if this is true, it changes nothing. Without control, there will be war. Species will destroy each other. Will they?" Jake asked. "In the past few days, we've seen former enemies working together. The Rogue Collective, the Free Traders, the Wanderers, they're all cooperating to fight for their freedom. That's different. They're fighting against a common enemy." "Exactly. When people are free to choose, they often choose to work together. But when they're controlled, they have no choice but to rebel." Kate stepped forward. "Counselors, I'm here to make you an offer. Dr. Harper can remove your shutdown implants. All of them. You can join us as free beings and we can build a new kind of galactic civilization. And if we refuse? Exmar asked. Then you'll face the same choice our species faced. You can live under control, or you can fight for your freedom. But either way, the age of shutdown switches is ending. The council members looked at each other uncertainly. Some seemed interested, others terrified. There's something else, Dr. Harper said. We've analyzed the final protocol weapon. It's not just designed to destroy planets. It's designed to shut down entire star systems. The architects built it as the ultimate control mechanism. But it won't work on humans, Jake realized. Or on any species that has had their shutdown implants removed. That's right. Which means if we can free enough species, the final protocol becomes useless. Admiral Tony Garcia's voice suddenly crackled through the communication system. Captain Morrison, this is Admiral Garcia. We have a situation. The final protocol weapon has changed course. It's no longer heading for Earth. Where is it going? Jake asked. Here, to the Council Station. It's targeting the heart of galactic civilization. The chamber erupted in panic. Several council members began talking at once, their voices filled with fear. The weapon is turning on us, Vextar said in horror. But that's impossible. We control it. Do you? Kate asked. Or does it control you? Dr. Harper checked her tablet. The weapon is receiving signals from somewhere. It's not responding to council commands anymore. The architects, Jake said grimly. They're not gone. They're still out there, still trying to control the galaxy. Then we have to stop them, said Kreval. Free beings and controlled beings working together. Jake looked around the chamber. Counselors, you have a choice to make. You can stick with the old system and hope the architects will spare you. Or you can join us and fight for everyone's freedom. One by one, the council members made their decisions. Some chose freedom, others chose control. The galaxy split into two factions, those who wanted to remain under the shutdown system and those who wanted to be free. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Free beings fought with a courage and creativity that amazed their enemies. They couldn't be shut down, couldn't be controlled, couldn't be predicted. Admiral Garcia led the combined fleet of humans and freed aliens against the final protocol. Weapon. The battle was fierce, but freedom proved stronger than control. In the end, the architects were defeated, their ancient control systems destroyed. The final protocol weapon was turned into a monument to freedom, a reminder of what could happen when beings chose control over liberty. The galaxy was never the same. Some species chose to keep their shutdown implants, preferring the safety of control to the uncertainty of freedom. Others had them removed and joined the new Galactic Confederation based on choice rather than compulsion. Captain Jake Morrison, now promoted to Admiral, stood on the bridge of his new flagship and looked out at the stars. Beside him stood beings from dozens of species, all free, all working together by choice rather than force. Admiral, said his communication officer, we're receiving a message from the colony on Kepler 442b. They're reporting that human and alien children are playing together in the schools. Jake smiled. What are they playing? Games that require individual choice and cannot be controlled by any external authority. The children are teaching each other how to be free, and in classrooms across the galaxy, a new generation was learning that freedom was not something to be feared, but something to be cherished. The age of shutdown switches was over. The age of choice had begun. The Galactic Council's mistake had been assuming that humans had a shutdown switch. Their real mistake had been believing that anyone should have one at all.